Welcome. Welcome to the City Council, Calexico Community Redevelopment Agency, successor agency, Calexico Financing Authority regular meeting, February 5th, 2013, 6:30 p.m. I'm going to start with our legal report.
Thank you, Mayor. Item A, the first two cases listed under item A were removed. All other items on the closed session agenda were discussed. Direction was given. No reportable action was taken. Thank you.
Thank you. City Clerk, please note all members are present today. Okay, we're going to start with our Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Moedano, would you lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Moedano. I need an approval on our agenda, please.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Please vote. Thank you. 541. Okay, announcements, public appearances, public comments. Note, not to exceed 3 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay the council meeting with personal or slanderous remarks. If the item you wish to comment on is a closed session or consent item, please comment now. If the item you wish to comment on is on the public portion of the agenda, we will take your comment when we get to that item on the agenda. Please direct your questions and comments to the City Council. We have several public comments, and it looks like the majority are just general comments, so I'll just go ahead and start from the top. Ms. Flor de Alba. Just go ahead and go there, state your name and your address. And
my name is Flor de Alba, and the address that I'm right now, well, it's business. It's 735 South Imperial Avenue in Calexico, and it's Gorilla Pizza. Yeah? Okay. This is for people that are trying to open up businesses. I am very unhappy on how SBDC treated me a couple months ago. I went over with them to apply for a loan. Before this, I had been to the Microbusiness Service Center at Neighborhood House, and they helped me a lot. I went to the workshops. They told me how to start a business and everything. And then they told me to apply for a loan at the county. And then the county told me I had to go to classes at SBDC for the loan to be approved. I went to SBDC, showed them my business plan that I had worked out with Neighborhood House. They told me that it didn't work, that it wasn't good. So they said that they were going to polish the business plan. Now, they never finished my business plan. They never, because Carlos Figari, the director at SBDC, he told me that I would fail. And these are his words. He said, Flor, I want to be real honest with you, and I don't mean to crush your dreams, but this is not going to work. You are going to fail. Better to walk out owing the equipment bought than owing triple, because again, I don't mean to crush your dreams, but it is better to walk out right now. I was really perplexed because they are supposed to help small businesses, and I know the city of Calexico gives money to them. Now, it has been over a course of a year that we started to buy equipment, and we had to sell everything. We had to sell our cars and everything, the house, to open up the business. And then the Carlos Figari told me, when he told me this, I was really, really upset. And yes, my dreams were crushed. He didn't want to crush my dreams, but he did. And then I had my grand opening thanks to Neighborhood House. They helped me a lot to open up the business. And then after the grand opening, I received a call from Carlos, and he said, Flor, Why did you open up your business? I told you not to. You go around doing what I told you not to do, and it's just a matter of time before you fail. You're going to run out of money. Because I called Sylvia to ask her for help with QuickBooks. And then she passed me over to Carlos, and that's what he said. You know what, Flor? You just go around looking for help and jumping around. You can be getting help from Micro Business Service Center at Neighborhood House and getting help from us. You either get help from them or you get help from us. So I can't help you, he said. You have to start listening. And he wanted me to listen to him. And what was he wanted me to do? He wanted me not to open up my restaurant. So this is just for you to know that if you're giving money to this kind of people, organization, nonprofit organization, just to be real careful, because I don't think I'm the only one that has been denied the help.
Thank you, Flor.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next is Omar Ochoa. Representing IVC students.
Hi, my name is Omar Ochoa, and I'm here because we're leaving behind too many students that take the bus. For example, I took the bus this morning and I noticed that 20 students were left behind since the bus was full. And I'm here thinking to myself that these students will end up losing their classes just because we couldn't send another extra bus to help them get to their classes on time. Some of these students that got left behind might have been the next doctor that saved lives or the next scientist that cures cancer. We're leaving behind way too many students that take the bus and destroying their potential futures by not funding our transit system better. We must do a better job as a city so we can live up to today's standards in our civilized society. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Omar. Next for public comments is Gil Bennett. Is Gil here? Did I pronounce that correctly? Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, good night. My name is Bennett Jill, as announced before, and I am here because of the concern that we're all, IVC students are having as to the bus. There is a lot of students being left behind. Personally, I've been one of those, and I would like to say that I do think that we do need more buses. For example, I think it would be a really good idea if we put a bus after 3, because that way students will be able to get their classes after 3 and be able to keep going with our studies, and that way the buses in the morning won't be as full and packed as there is, and there wouldn't be as much as students left. I'll also like to thank, because ever since the last meeting, me and some other IVC student mentioned that we all get pushed into a bus of the fear to not be left behind, because we might not get the next bus as well. So now I notice that we're making a line to be able to go into a bus, and I'm really thankful for that, because I'm not that high, and I'm afraid I might be squished or something. But that's what I would like to say, and thanks for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Bennett. Okay, next for public comment is Manuel Reyes.
Good evening, good night. My name is Manuel Reyes, and I'm part of the Associated Student Government at IVC. And I ride the bus every day. Every semester, IVC's enrollment increases. There are more students coming from Calexico to IVC. Most students do not have a car to go to IVC. Therefore, they have to ride the bus, the IV Transit. However, the IV Transit cannot meet the needs of the students. The bus left behind students frequently because there is not enough space for too many students. This morning, me and other 20 students were left behind by the bus due that it was really full. As a result to that, we were late to our classes and some of them were even absent. This is not the first time, nor the second or the third. This happens frequently. Imperial County also has the highest unemployment rate in the nation, almost 30%. That is one of the reasons because many people go back to college. Also, gas prices are soaring every day, and many people go back to college because of that. In addition to that, Proposition 30 was passed in California, which provide more funding to education. Therefore, the good news started to spread throughout the state, throughout the media, making people go back to college since they knew the good news. To meet this high demand of enrollment constantly increasing at IVC, we must provide the students a better transportation to continue our higher education. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Lisa Tailinda.
You can use this podium.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Tailinda. I am the Associated Student Government President of Imperial Valley College. I'm here today to tell you about my experience riding the bus. I had never ridden it before, and I was being approached by students, faculty, and staff telling me that our students were late, not being able to take their quizzes, and being left behind. So as a president of the students, I wanted to see what it was like to ride the bus. Well, I got left behind the first time. I thought it was comical until I arrived to school and I was late. So I got to experience it firsthand, and my teachers didn't care. So all the other students' teachers don't care because they think, well, wake up earlier. That's not the thing. I missed the 6:45 a.m. bus, so I had to wait till 7:55 to take the other bus. And the problem is that I didn't know the time because there's no schedules posted anywhere here in Calexico. I ask you, council members, have you rode the bus lately? Because if you haven't, you should. It's quite an experience. Now, I felt like I was a private investigator. I was taking pictures, I had a great time, but what I didn't know is that we were all being exposed to danger. You know, people were sitting on the floor, students. That's dangerous. The bus was so overcrowded, and the bus driver didn't want to leave he didn't want to leave all at once. He tried to get everybody as he could onto the bus. And that meant breaking the rules. There's a line on that bus that you can't pass, that students were sitting on the floor, just so you wouldn't leave them behind. And I have pictures. That's dangerous. Now, we want you to help us in this effort to change it, because we really need it. You know, you don't understand that this is a big deal. If you rely on this bus system to get you from point A to point B, your whole schedule revolves around this, and you have to plan. So I really ask that you council members, if you can help us, your people, that would be great, and we would really appreciate it. It is a big deal. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Good job, Lisa. I believe that there's one young lady left that would like to say something. Leticia Torres, on the same subject. Okay.
My name is Leticia Torres, and I'm also from Calexico, addressing the same problem. Riding the transit is quite of an experience. I ride it every single day, and I have been left behind and been missing classes. And not only do we need more buses, but we also need it to be further on than 3, because our schedule revolves around from 8 to 3, and we do miss the bus several times. And if not, we have to take the 2-hour bus to get from Calexico to IVC. And we are also exposed because we have to sit on the floor, or we have to be standing up, squished against each other. So this is a big deal, like Lisa said, and we really need it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd just like to make a comment to the students that this bus system that you're using is a county system, and I know that our council member, or Mayor Pro Tem Bill Hodge, is on that commission, and I know that I see that he's extremely concerned, and you may want to maybe wait around after the meeting or have an opportunity to talk to him so he can actually express your concerns, which are very serious, to the right people. Okay, so thank you very much for participating. It looks like our county supervisor might want to make a comment on the same subject, so even though you don't have a little slip of paper, we'll let you talk.
I know you don't. So, Honorable City Council, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I've met with the students last Saturday with Mr. Hodge, Lisa, Manuel, and Sandra. Where are you, Sandra? There you are over there. And I intend to attend their student council meeting on the 19th of February at 12 noon at IBC, as well as the next board meeting of IBC. I've already been in contact with the ICTC chairman and executive director Mark Bassa. We were at the port of entry in Eastport yesterday on some other issues, so we've talked about this. We've talked to Kathy Williams as well, who is pretty much in charge of scheduling. You're absolutely right. There's some issues there. It's all about reallocation of resources and reallocation of priorities, and I assured Mr. Hodge, and with his help, because I wanted to commend him because he's one of the few council members who's really in the whole valley shown a commitment to be on those meetings, and he's aware of the problem. Him and I went down the other morning, and there's a big issue, 3rd and Paulin. Not only that, you might not get a full bus there, but as it progresses, it gets full. And that's the issue. The shadow buses are usually available. Sometimes they're not. Manuel Reyes texted me at what time this morning, Manuel? 8 o'clock, 8 a.m.? And you said you couldn't get on because the shadow bus you had to call. So, but make a long story short, I can assure the council and assure the students and assure the community of Calexico that this will be solved in the next couple of weeks. And it'll be a reallocation of resources. The other thing is we're going to ask the ICTC to make sure they get a hold of the webmaster at the IBC to make sure that the schedules are posted northbound and southbound on both websites so that they're talking to each other. The other issue is John Lau, who is the Vice President of Finance at IBC, has been in communication with ICTC regarding the pushing incidents at IBC. I think you're aware of that, where people are actually getting into altercations at IBC. I discussed this with Trustee Louis Wong yesterday as well. He's aware of the problem. So we're aware of all the problems, and we're now going to fix them. So you have my promise, you have my pledge that hopefully these students won't have to come back and demand the same. And I know Mr. Hodge and I will be following up on this. I'd like an additional 1 minute on another subject while I'm here. The Sentry Lane at the east port of entry, there's a possibility it will be moved to the east side of the port instead of the current west side. And the reason that is to accommodate cars that are coming and dropping pedestrians off as they're crossing into the United States. This was as a result of the meeting we attended with the city and county and ICT officials in Mexicali. We had a follow-up with the port officials and GSA, and they don't see a big problem with that. So we're working on that too as well. So I just want to thank the council and everybody for their time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Renison. Okay, Maria Ambris, please.
Good evening, Council. My name is Maria Ambris. I'm at 1414 East Zapata here in Calexico. Currently, I'm the superintendent of Calexico Unified, and I'm here in the capacity of superintendent to address...
Excuse me. Ms. Ryan, should I have excused myself? It's a school issue.
That's up to you.
I think I should be.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. I'm sorry, Ms. Ambris, just a second.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm here to publicly thank and appreciate the City of Calexico and City Council's ongoing support of the school district in any and all of the endeavors that we have asked assistance for. As you know, the school sites, particularly Calexico High School, for example, are sites that could be cities in and of themselves with the amount of students that they have on any given day. Having said that, again, we thank the city for their support in all of the resources that you provide. The resources have ranged from Calexico Fire Department responding to any of our emergency calls, Calexico Police Department with their presence at or around our school sites on a daily basis. Very welcome resources, much needed presence, so thank you very much for that. We thank you for your continued support with Measure H in the past. We hope we can continue to count on support. I know there's an item on the agenda about that. But I'm here to address an issue that came up, I believe, at your December 18th City Council meeting. And that issue is that there were concerns raised about school safety. And I believe Council Member Luis Castro had some very valid and vital concerns regarding the school safety and whether or not the City Council should participate or collaborate with the school district regarding ensuring safety measures at our schools. So as a superintendent of our school district, we welcome any collaborative efforts on behalf of the city. We truly do. I do have to say that as I viewed the video of the meeting repeatedly, I was very concerned. And again, I do value Mr. Castro's concerns. They were valid, they were vital concerns, but we cannot condone his actions of admitting publicly that he used a business card or a credit card of sorts to bypass the lock at one of our school's gates. And I believe he indicated that he bypassed the lock at one of the school locks at Cesar Chavez Elementary. And that is a very serious concern. I don't expect a response in return, but that is a very serious concern. The gate clearly states that they need to report to the front of the school, that the gate is to be locked at all times during school hours, that they need to sign in. And when he discovered that he could bypass this, then I think that his responsibility as a citizen of Calexico is to meet with the appropriate school officials regarding those safety concerns. And to my knowledge, and maybe I'm wrong, but to my knowledge, he did not address the issue with site personnel, with district administrators, or even with, that to my knowledge, with school board members. So how would we deal with anybody who's either breaking and entering on our own property, whether it's at home or at a business or at a school site? How would we deal with somebody who's trespassing? Well, we would have to arrest them. And so I would just caution that anybody as a citizen, when they are at our school sites, that they deal with things appropriately, that they come by the appropriate authorities through the appropriate entrances, because we would hate to find ourselves in an embarrassing situation that we would have to call Calexico Police Department to have one of our trusted council members arrested, because we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. But when they're out and about during the day, that's what we would have to do. So thank you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Maria. And thank you for the continued support. Okay, last on our, oh no, I'm sorry, one more. You didn't put your name here, but I know it's you. You're asking to make comments on, under public comments, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So go ahead and start with your public comments if you like.
No, I want to speak to the defense of Mr. Castro, and specifically the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. This lady made the issue political. It would seem appropriate to me that she should have gone to Luis Castro, resolve it, and don't bring it to City Council. I think the mission of a superintendent is to direct and implement policy. rather to linger into politics. Did she contact you, Mr. Castro? No? Understand? Okay, secondly, I want to talk about the students mentioned. I've been riding the Imperial Valley Transit for over 15 years, 10 years, and I basically concur with the students. 2 years ago, I was arrested in Imperial because I was going to Raleigh Pioneer Memorial Hospital because my daughter was in emergency. And when I got arrested last year, it wasn't because I violated or I insulted Nick Sabine and Celestina Hernandez. It was because I didn't have that taken care of. And there was a warrant for my arrest, but I moved several times that I wasn't aware, even though I contacted the Imperial Police Department. I think the issue, going back on the Imperial Valley Transit, we need a new carrier. It's obvious that we have an outsider that does not subjugate and adhere to times, dates, and schedules. No air conditioning. I've ridden that bus one time on a Saturday. I was in El Centro. They said they were going to come at 9:30. They didn't get there till 11:30. And that's been repeatedly. So I think the action, Mr. Renaissance City Council, Madam Mayor, words are not enough. Money talks and BS walks. We need to have a resolution from the Calexico City Council addressing that. The Board of Supervisors should come up with a resolution recommending new carriers and quit talking that I'm going to promise in 2 weeks. Money talks and BS walks. Thank you. We need action.
Okay, you sure you don't want to make your comments right now about items on the agenda 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10? Or is that actually what you wanted to do? You want to take a look at that?
How much time do I have?
I'll go ahead and give you another 2 minutes, but you're going to comment on all of those, okay? Because that's quite a bit.
I can't do it in 2 minutes. There's no way.
Okay, well, how are we going to do this then? Because
I would do it when the item comes.
Unless the items are pulled, then he can comment.
Yeah.
Unless the items are pulled.
well, we don't know if they're going to be pulled.
We don't know if they're going to be pulled.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, we need Mr. Kim back in? Oh, no. Yes, we do. Can somebody call Mr. Kim back in, please? I could have done that. Okay, next young lady to have public comments is Laura Vargas. Is she here? Okay, Laura Vargas wrote, oh, there she is. Is that you? Okay. Laura, do you speak English? No? Okay, you wrote a letter. Do you want to speak in Spanish? That's okay, you could do that. And your letter, we'll go ahead and give that to the city clerk.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Laura, soy maestra de danzas polinesias del Departamento de Recreación y venía porque estoy preocupada porque nos cambiaron la forma de pago, desde ahora nos pagan por hora. Entonces, para que un grupo se pueda abrir necesita tener 25 alumnas. A veces cuando uno va empezando no inicia con 25, conforme te va conociendo la gente, ya vas abriendo tu grupo. Muchos maestros ya se fueron por ese problema, porque les pagan muy poco, porque es por hora. Entonces, pues ya no les conviene y son muy buenos maestros. Vengo porque estoy preocupada también porque para nosotros prepararnos nos cuestan los seminarios. A mí el último seminario me costó $1,000. Para yo ganar $1,000 necesito trabajar 6 meses y que todo mi sueldo sea para el seminario. Antes nos pagaban por niño, ahora nos piden 25 niños por cada hora. Es muy poquito lo que nos pagan y estoy preocupada. También porque varias mamás me comentaban pues que por esa situación se fueron varios maestros muy buenos y casi no había cursos en enero. Lo que yo hice para motivar a las muchachas, a las adolescentes, es de que estoy regalando 1 hora para que a ver si se abre un grupo de adolescentes y hacer otro grupo, porque es muy poquito lo que nos pagan. Esa es mi petición, Ana, que ojalá se pudiera regresar el pago de antes, el que nosotros teníamos, que era por alumno, no por hora, porque es difícil juntar 25 alumnos por un grupo. Y esa es la petición, también de varios padres de familia que están preocupados por eso, porque se fueron ya varios maestros que son muy buenos, porque no les convenía su pago.
Okay.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias. Creo que su carta la vamos a pasar a lo que es el City Manager y que si hay algo de qué platicar, si gustas comunicarte con su oficina. Señor Rodríguez. Gracias a ti. Okay, moving on to our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I have,
Okay, Mr. Kim, did you want to pull any?
yes, I need to pull out 3, 4, 5, and 7, 8 separate discussions.
Anybody else want to pull any other items? Do I have a motion to approve items 1, 2, and 6 of
So-
consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, let's vote. We're voting on items 1, 2, and 6. Okay, thank you very much. Before we proceed to review items 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8, I do want to go ahead and read the proclamation declaring the week of February 7th through the 14th, 2013 as National Marriage Week. So bear with me, it's a little long. Proclamation of the City Council of the City of Calexico declaring the week of February 7th to the 14th, 2013 as National Marriage Week. Whereas marriage binds couples together in a network of affection, mutual aid, and mutual obligation, commits fathers to their children, and connects children to a wider network of performing kin. Marriage thus is the outward visible sign of a couple's desire to create a lasting life and provide the bastion of ongoing of support necessary for the growth of healthy children and healthy family. And whereas mounting scientific evidence confirms that the best environment for children to flourish is in being raised by parents in healthy marriages rather than unhealthy marriages or by single or cohabiting parents, these children demonstrate less behavioral problems in school, are less likely to be a victim of physical or sexual abuse, less likely to abuse drugs or alcohol, less likely to commit delinquent behaviors, have a better relationship with their mothers and fathers, and are less likely to be sexually active and become pregnant as a teenager or impregnate someone, are less likely to contract STDs, have a decreased chance of divorcing when they get married, and are less likely to be raised in poverty. And whereas healthy marriages protect adults as well as children, mothers as well as fathers, and research indicates that women in healthy relationships experience more physical and emotional health, more wealth, are less likely to be victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, or other violent crimes, less likely to attempt to commit suicide, have decreased risk of drugs or alcohol use, and less likely to contract STDs, are less likely to remain or end up in poverty, and more likely to have better relationships with their children. And whereas research also indicates that men in healthy relationships, marriages are more likely to live longer, be physically and emotionally healthier, wealthier, have increased stability of employment, higher wages, decreased risk of drug and alcohol abuse, have better relationships with their children, more satisfying relationships with their spouse, and are less likely to attempt or commit suicide. I told you it was long. Whereas we acknowledge the importance of lasting, healthy marriage to be well-being of children, therefore, to the future of our community, we recognize that our community benefits from having a high percentage of couples in healthy relationships. We note the following: higher rates of physically healthy citizens, higher rates of emotionally healthy citizens, higher rates of educated citizens, lower domestic violence rates, lower crime statistics, lower teenage pregnancy rates, lower rates of juvenile delinquency, higher rates of home ownership, higher property values, and overall decreased need of social services. Recent advances in research have helped us identify the behaviors and skills necessary for a healthy relationship. Furthermore, we now have proven methods of teaching these skills and behaviors, and now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Calexico, in consideration of all these important values for our community, we do hereby proclaim February 7th through the 14th, 2013 as National Marriage Week.
Could you repeat that in Spanish? Could you repeat that in Spanish?
No.
Does anybody want to
Thank
get
you,
married?
sorry.
I'm depressed now. I'm happy. How about you?
Thank you for bearing with me. That was a little long. Okay, Mr. Kim, you pulled all items, so I guess we'll look towards you for item number 3, please. That is the acknowledgement receipt of warrant register of claims paid for the month of November 2012.
Well, first of all, I have several issues. One is, I see the page 3 or page 2, and the business improvement district.
I'm sorry, Kim, can you repeat that, please?
Business improvement district expenses.
Which item, Mr. Kim?
Okay, they have the two for the banners. Daniel Chires, he is our planning commissioner. So they have a business with the city. Is that not?
Okay, that would be a question for legal.
I haven't reviewed that issue, and I wouldn't be able to review it on the spot, so.
Might have to.
You didn't, okay. So next time we can do that. Because what I understanding, the employees is supposed to be not in the commissioners. So is that entitled to any contractors to making business with the school cities?
I believe.
And the other one is we've been have a lot of money spending from the urban future. Is that all related with the bonds?
No, a lot of it is related to the elimination of redevelopment agencies. So we have consultants that allow us, under the law, allows us to assist us in the elimination of that agency. So it's paid by a specific, certain revenues that come through the state that are flowed through to us to be able to obtain these consultants.
Okay, so urban future not only acting as a bond counselors.
Well, when we have a bond issue, they serve as financial consultants. But this is not, most of this is not bond issues because we haven't done a bond issue. It's more for the elimination of redevelopment agencies, and it's not general fund money either.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so
I'll make the motion to approve the number item 3 and 4.
Thank you.
Second.
3 and 4. Second, you want to do one at a time? We're going to vote on item 3. I have a first and a second. Let's vote. Item number 3 only. Thank you. 5-0. Next item is item number 4. Is that correct, Mr. Kim? We're okay on that?
I was make the motion to approve the 3 and 4.
Do you have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. Let's vote on item number 4, acknowledgement receipt of warrant register of claims for the month of December 2012. Okay, thank you. Item passes. Item number 5, approval of the resolution to submit application for funding of the State of California Department of Housing and Community Development, Division of Financial Assistance, Federal Emergency Solutions Grant. You had a question, Mr. Kim?
Yes. First of all, I'm glad our city to looking into the more money for our citizens' benefit. And we should do more about this. And I was talking with the city manager today. I think we have about 2-3 agencies applying same grant. And do we have any chance to collaborating each other's to helping or not to competing each other's?
Yes, even though we have 3 separate applications going, one by Neighborhood House, one by Catholic Charities, and one by the City of Calexico, we're all applying for different funding sources within that NOFA, but we still collaborate with each other because they're all going to be part of a system. Neighborhood House applies for emergency services for homeless, for their shelter. I believe Catholic Charities is also applying for shelter money for some other avenue, and then we're applying for rental assistance for up to 3 months. So when we collaborate with them, because the people who go into the shelter may be also getting training from one of the other agencies to the point that when they're ready to go out and obtain their job, then they may need assistance in obtaining their apartments, their rental, and so then they in turn send them to us, and then we assist them, hopefully if we get this money, with up to 3 months for rental assistance for them to find their apartment or so on. And then we in turn then then would collaborate with the housing authority or somebody else to help them long-term on their housing. So we're still all collaborating together, and these different funding sources, we're not competing against each other. So that if we did one application together, we would only be entitled to $230,000. But since we are all submitting separate applications and not competing with each other, we're hopeful that all of us get funded, and therefore then we bring $690,000 into the community instead of $230,000.
So I think you mentioning about the collaborating for the agencies. If you put in that application for the grant, maybe more help, more strong for our grant applications?
Well, again, we also provide support letters to them in their particular applications, so that's how we coordinate with each other. The reason that we wouldn't do one application together is because then we would be limited to a maximum of 230. By each one of us applying, then there's a maximum of each application of 230, therefore hopefully bringing $690,000 to the community instead of only 230.
Okay, thank you for the clarifications.
May I say something?
Mr. Kim, Mr. Hodge wants to make a comment too.
No, I agree with Mr. Kim's comment. I'm very pleased to see that we're applying for this. Definitely would expect updates on this, but this is very encouraging. And it is, you know, it's funny, I was just thinking about how, for no fault at all, in a sense, how negligent we are towards our homeless and the people that are on the streets. You know, I was thinking how cold it's been, and I see them out there. And if I understand what research I've said, for so many legal and other reasons, it is very important for them, in order to get off their feet, that they first have to have, research has indicated they first have to have a place to stay. And so this would be very key.
So we go from temporary housing into more long-term housing and hopefully into permanent housing.
So, excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Kim.
To approve it.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. And thank you, Mr. Moreno. Let's go ahead and vote. Okay, item number 5 has been approved. Whoop, almost. Okay, thank you. Item number 7 has been pulled for discussion and or action to consider approving Measure H funding in the amount of $19,950 for public safety feasibility study of main fire and police facilities as per Measure H committee recommendation. Did you want to comment, Mr. Kim? I'll call you in a moment. Did you have a comment, Mr. Kim?
Yes. I don't see, I believe the Major H we supposed to spend money with the safety for the community, but we supposed not to, what's called the touching by the regular activities from our other departments. I believe this money has to be paid from our regular budget, not by the Major H. Because this one is like what's called the public safety feasibility study that it should be our regular, supposedly fall into our regular activities in the fire departments. But we should be able to pay from our regular budget, not touching any Major H monies. The Major H monies actually more concerns like more safety to deal with the citizens, human beings. Like we need to, in case we need to provide more officers, they should be prioritized for the human powers first.
Didn't Measure H purchase equipment for the fire department? Does this fall in line with that?
Well, if you remember, and we've had this conversation more than a couple of times, and that is that the ballot measure allows it to be spent on anything that the general fund can spend. It's not a restricted revenue flow. Okay. So if the question is, can it be spent for that? Yes, it can. Whether or not it should be coming out of our departmental budget or not, obviously the chief could probably answer, but I can answer for him, and that is our funds are very limited. So we're trying to stretch the dollars as much as we can. And I know he searched his budget, but came out with very few dollars. So that's why we went to Measure H.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so that's we don't have money. That's why you came to the Major H.
That's correct. And the biggest issue here is going to be, if you recall, we have some issues at our station. And before we can even get into talking about what the long-term solution on this is going to be, we need to know what the condition of the station is. Are we going to rehab that station? Are we going to demolish that station and talk about a different site? Obviously, if we do that, we're talking about big money and probably having to go after grants. So before we can do that, we need to do a feasibility study to see what the options are and what is feasible feasible, what isn't. So this will be the first step in moving forward in that direction.
Well, I
Thank you,
don't
Mr.
like
Rodriguez.
I don't like to give the hardship for our safety officers, but the reason I doing this because we need to cautiously to save them major money to in right purpose, and probably I might have to, if nobody doesn't have things to say, I make the motion to conditionally at this time only to approve this one.
Conditionally? I'm sorry, could you clarify?
Yeah, conditioning on this time only.
This time
Yes.
only?
He's willing to vote.
Okay, so then specifically, your motion is to approve this item conditionally, this time only. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Okay. Let's vote on this item, item number 7, as Mr. Kim has indicated, conditional only, this time only, and I would assume what you're trying to say
Madam Mayor, I guess we were trying to figure out what the condition is on this motion.
Right. Not
Okay,
too sure.
my clarification is, condition is for this purpose. Well, I don't want to jump into the regular budget come into the major agency. So this only is needed, so we just condition on this case only. But
It may be redundant to ask that because we will have to vote every time.
And,
Yeah, you
and it's usually a case-by-case
Yeah,
thing.
right,
So
so-
I don't understand the motion, that's why I'm voting no.
Right, so are you sure you want to? Every issue that's going to be presented to the Measure H will be presented to the council, and each time we will individually be able to review and make an individual decision. So by saying this time only, well, they...
okay, this time only for this purpose. Is good enough, clear enough?
It's still unclear
I
to me.
believe it's a little confusing for your council right now, what
Okay,
you're
this
asking.
is, let's amend my what's called the motion. Let's approve it then.
Thank you. I have a motion to approve the item number, I believe that there's a couple of, Mr. Gonzalez, you wanted to make a comment about this one real quick? Item number 7, Mr. Gonzalez.
No, Gonzalez, Calexico, 44 Terrace.
Item number 7, Mr. Gonzalez, just to remind you, is the $19,950.
I understand.
Okay.
And it's a feasibility, public safety feasibility.
Correct.
Okay. I'm speaking in favor. I believe that we need a safe community, and we need to support the fire department, police department. I think we need at least 20 police officers. We need a consultant to go out there and get grants, and it's begging. Mr. Castro made a motion, and everybody voted him down. Why do we need a feasibility study when we know the police department is archaic and the fire department? Look at the fire department of El Centro. Beautiful. Why we had a consultant? We don't have to study that. We know that it's obsolete. So let's get on with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Okay, council members, then we're going to go ahead and vote on item number 7. Mr. Kim has brought forward a motion to approve item number 7, and I forgot who second.
Mr. Castro.
Mr. Castro second, thank you. Please vote.
Is it conditionally? No. Or is it just straight up?
Original.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Motion passes 5-0. Next item is item number 8. Discussion and or action to consider approving Measure H funding for the 2012-13 School Crossing Guard Program in the amount not to exceed $140,000 as per Measure H committee recommendation.
I have to excuse myself.
But
By the way,
didn't you pull this item?
yeah, I pulled out this item, but I have to excuse myself because that's why I pulled it.
Oh, I see.
In the future, you don't have to pull an item off consent to recuse yourself. You can note it. On consent agenda, that's the only time you don't have to leave the room. So, but because you pulled it and now they're going to discuss it, you will have to leave, but just for the future, you can just, you don't have to pull it off consent to recuse yourself. You
Just
can
all
state it at
consent
the beginning.
items?
Yes. It can just be approved with consent, with one motion of the council, with noting that you would be recused.
Okay, so before the pooling, just separate discussion.
Yes.
That's why I did a separate discussion pulled out, because I have to excuse myself.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
I have 2 public comments on this item, and I guess we'll call Mr. Hermosillo first on this one. Just, if you don't mind, Mr. Hermosillo, just allow Mr. Kim to exit the room, please.
Hello, Guillermo Hermosillo, 1196 Margarita. I'm not in favor of this item. You know, it seems like Robin Hood's given to the rich. How can $18 million budget give money to a $70 million budget? If they can't handle the cross guards, turn them over to the police department, and the district can pay the police department for the crosswalks, the $148,000 they're requesting. I'm asking for this item to go back to the commission for further review. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hermosillo. Mr. Gonzalez.
Ladies and gentlemen, Oscar Gonzalez, 844 Country Terrace. Madam Mayor and Council Public, ladies and gentlemen, I agree with Mr. Hermosillo, even though I've never talked to him about that. But I would like to know, at this point, what is the balance of the money that we have in Measure H? And also, I think that Mr. Kim may or may not know the purpose and nature of Measure H. You can spend it on anything. It's policy. City Council has the obligation and responsibility to dictate. And if you get 3 votes, baby, you can move 3-2. So the bottom line on this, I think I'm going to give it, and I'm going to give you a solution. You can hire people, ROP, you can hire people one stop, pay them for 2 years. We don't need to be spending money. Of course, I'm a student of public administration. I have a master's in public administration. I got it 42 years ago. And I've been a consultant for maybe 40. If you look at Calexico, the industrial park, who do you think wrote the grants for the infrastructure? Oscar Gonzalez at age 28. We got a lot of help from congressmen, Senator Cranston, Mr. Brown was there. So the funding here, it's so clear, so easy to resolve. Go to one stop, hire 16 people. You can do for city government to open Fridays and Saturdays, the public library. You can do the same thing for City Hall. 16 people. You can work and open city government every Friday. Don't let department heads work. They get paid by the month. And in fact, I'm suggesting you ought to hire them by the hour. And the bottom line is, on this thing, I agree with Mr. Hermosillo, but you can do the funding, and I'm going to be redundant in short, get ROP students or number 1. Thank you. Won't cost the city anything.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Do I have a motion to approve item number 8?
If you want to spend, go ahead. You have the prerogative.
Can I elaborate on my motion?
Of course.
Thank you, gentlemen, for bringing to light some important concerns, and I do agree with you. At that time, I'm going to vote yes on this, but I'd like to just state what Mr. Romero had said, because I do comply. It is important to have information provided as to why this continuously needs to be done. I understand the budget crisis for both entities, but the committee should be provided a better report and presentation for next time. So for next time, we do need more solid information, how solvent they are, why do they need to come to Measure H. But at this point in time, I'm going to vote yes on it.
Okay, I'll second on that motion.
For discussion, the school was in a crisis last year, and I believe that's why the city Measure H stepped forward to assist with that, and also assist with the school resource officers. Just maybe work with the superintendent of schools to see what the plan would be for future years. So those are my 2 cents.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno. We have a first and a second to approve the item. Please vote. Item is approved, 3-1. Thank you very much. I apologize, and I jumped an item. I jumped our general comments by council members. I do apologize. Nobody noticed, did they? Okay, so we'll start with Mr. Hodge.
Okay, students are gone, but nevertheless, want to make a comment. I want to thank John Rennison's involvement on this issue. Yes, we've worked together, and I was very impressed at the unmet needs meeting with the students coming forward, and I do definitely agree that there is a need. I know, I know parents, I mean, we got to raise our kids, we have to raise them to the realities of the world, but you know, adults, we wouldn't want to have to get up 2 hours early to go to a class and wait. We wouldn't want to do that. So I hear parents, well, darn it, let them get up 3 hours early and be over there. We wouldn't want to do that. If that's the last result, those kids will do it. We have to stop treating them as second-hand citizens, some of us. They have needs, and those needs to be met. What I see is that there are two systems that, of one of the areas, needs better communication and coordination. That's IVC and ICTC, and we need to do that. And they're in the middle. And as a teacher, I'm very concerned, and I understand and respect the positions of teachers too. You know, they have their expectations and their standards, and so it's hard for them. Another issue maybe is, I know that some public feedback. I received text messages today about, well, you know, who do we know these students are? Are they from Mexicali or not? That's a whole different issue. I say we need to take care of this problem, and my bet is most of those kids are from here, and they deserve the respect. And so I'm going to do my part to inquire about as many options at ICTC, and I do understand that it's going to, they are considering this right now, and when we meet on February 20, I'm sorry, an exact date, 26th or 27th, it will be determined whether we do have the funding and we can do this, and I very much hope so. I'm going to do my best. But I think that they have a very legitimate concern. And so I thank them for activism and standing up. In social science, that's what we teach them, to stand up and speak for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. Mr. Moreno.
No, I have no comments at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno. Mr. Kim?
Before I start my comment, when can I have a microphone working? I have to have a gooseneck.
It's a conspiracy.
So when are you going to give me the microphone working?
Works better now than when Mr. Moreno had it.
Yeah, but I have to pull my neck so far away.
Do you have any comments?
Yes. I think I got so many, so I'm going to have to cut something down. I believe the SBDC contract that we have to review, we paying them to help our citizens, and actually they're throwing away and discouraging them instead of help them to get loan. And I believe we at the City Council have to look into this contract. I believe the contract is 30 days notice so we can bleach the contract, or we can terminate contracts. And I believe we give them money. I don't know how they're going to spend, but we should be looking into that. I'm throwing an idea we discuss next time. If any councilman agree, just go ahead, so we can discuss next time. If don't, kill the agenda. Okay, second one, the bus. I think Mr. Haji was talking about the ICTC have a meeting February 26 and 27.
I don't exactly remember the date, sir. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, but the students, they are still suffers.
I spoke Spanish. 28th.
28th? Yeah, is there any city level we can deal with send us a messenger from the city manager? Because actually that's happening from the city of Calexico, inside the city of Calexico. Or if not, if we can have any arranging temporary bus for them to go.
Well, I think the best bet is, as we've spoken before, is to go before ICTC.
Or IVC?
Because they do have funding available to them. We just have to make sure that we make the case that this is a priority. I think once we make the case that it's a priority, they do have the funding. So they should react to that. And we certainly have a member on there who represents us quite correctly. So I believe we should support Councilmember Hodge and try to make that push at ICTC.
Yeah. Can you send us as a city manager to push it there as soon as possible to handle the case? Okay.
Yeah, I'll be there, but the more the better.
Yes. Okay, the other one is, I think it's some people already have experience at the traffic at the 98 and 111. Especially over there, they get tailing. So what happens? The green light, a car cannot pass. And I believe the transportation law is supposedly tailing, supposed to be a ticket. We should enforce the law to make sure they're not blocking. And a couple of days ago, I see the one in front of my car. They like they have playing the game because they cannot go. They said go to side by side car passing crossing the 98. I mean the 111. I think we need to put the sign down there, and we need to start issuing the ticket. That way we can clear the interchanges. And the other one, I believe the city, we need to concern more, help the more small business cities. And we need to be a city and assist the local business people. Our business license fees are too high, and local people need to develop our small business better. We are spending too much city staff time and money on consultant and city taxes on these big projects like Grand Plaza and Town Center. Nothing has been happened for many years, and we are wasting our time and money. Let these people spend their own money on projects that are real projects. I'm tired of looking at the pretty drawings. I believe a lot of people agree with me. And also, I have little discussions. This Adelante Valle, oh, I didn't bring it. Adelante Valle said, I named the planning commissioner to David Usan. I didn't. Mr. Castro named the planning commissioner David Usan. The Adelante and Mr. Bohorges is practicing fake journalism. I understand in Mexico some of the reporters tell fake stories. Mr. Bohorges needs to go to journalism school and learn to write facts before misleading the community by wrong opinions. I didn't David Usan as a planning commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Mr. Castro.
Yes, I would like to ask Mr. City Manager, what's the update on the issue to protect our schools? It's been more than a month and I didn't hear nothing. I haven't seen any changes.
Was that a directive that I don't remember a directive.
Yes, I gave that direction to City Manager on that time. I believe Ms. Ambris, that's your last name? She mentioned was on December 18. So I haven't seen any changes, and I haven't heard nothing.
Let me, I don't know if I'm putting the commander on the spot here to see what we've been doing with the schools, because I know we interact with the schools on a daily basis. It's not like something we do because there's something that happened Excuse me, and there was something that occurred in the national level. We, on a daily basis, coordinate with schools on what we are doing. But Lieutenant, would you like to come up? I've already changed your title here. Lieutenant, would you like to come up and maybe provide us with some of the things that we constantly do with the school district and how we collaborate with them on a day-to-day basis?
And it's one of those things where when it comes to planning on the schools, it's one of the things we did take some steps forward. We're trying to get a notification when it comes to notifying our kids, our students and our children regarding the lockdown procedures. They do practice lockdown drills. My school resource officers are actually meet with the principals and the superintendents on lockdown drills. We do have a plan. Officer Dominguez gave us maps of all the schools, who are the contact persons, from who you contact first, whose numbers, telephone numbers, extensions on the schools. Now, the officers, we are doing training. They just sent, I think, 4 guys to do training with El Centro PD. On Friday, I'm going over to Imperial. The city of Imperial's having a demonstration, and they're having a drill where their officers, because what we do with lockdown drills, and in case we do have a lockdown scenario, every agency has to know what to do the same. We all have to be uniform on the way we approach. Our tactics have to be the same as in formations that we do, how we approach the school tactically, how many officers it takes to approach. There's a lot of stuff that we can't really discuss in public. I can't tell you this is how we're going to approach, this is what the officers do. All I can tell you is that our mission when it comes to having a scenario like they've had what they do the school shootings is, our mission is to search and destroy. That's our main objective, to go after the active shooter. After we take the threat down, then we go to a rescue mode when we rescue the kids out of there. The officers, we've done training in the past, we're bringing up training. We're trying to set up something with Mr. Dominguez where during the vacations, the school vacations, we will do actual scenarios in the school grounds. We don't want the kids to be exposed to what we're doing. We are teaching the teachers and telling the teachers this is what you have to do. This is what our part is, this is what the school part is. And we're doing more and more. We had talked to Ms. Ambris regarding the fact that we need to educate our teachers they're going to have to fight in case something happens. We can't wait to react. We can't wait for a SWAT team to come in and to try to take out the threat. We need to take out the threat ourselves. We need to take action. And the officers know, we know, and it's a sad case, but there will be casualties. I'm not saying that they won't. I wish I could promise and say that nobody would get hurt, but if they do, we can limit the casualties down from great numbers to less numbers.
And how often you guys, the police department, meet with these agencies, schools?
Well, we meet on a daily basis. We had our last meeting the beginning of January when we had all the school principals. Mr. Kim was there. And it's funny because we noticed where we lacked. When it came down to the lockdown drills, we saw how it didn't go as smooth as it was supposed to. And that's the good thing about having trainings, that we can critique ourselves on what deficiencies we need and what we can improve on. And that's the whole thing, is keep on having dialogue, trainings, and keep on doing these drills. And we're moving forward. We're not going to stop doing this.
And how many officers are working on this project?
Well, the whole thing is this. Every officer, what we'll do is we'll get every officer to go through it once we get everything going. Right now, the school resource officers, we're getting 2 new range masters that go out and do the shooting. And then we have our defense and tactics officers that just went through a training at El Centro Police Department. So we need to bring everybody together as a tactical for the department to deploy, and then what we do at the school, what we teach the teachers, everything it's a big component. Everybody plays a part, and that's how we're going to do it.
Okay. Well, thank you.
I mean, when we do it, I would invite some of you guys to check it out.
Yeah, please call me.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I'd like to comment that this past Thursday, we did have a meeting in Mexicali. The city manager, the director of public works, and myself, and Mr. Moreno was not able to assist, but we had a meeting in Mexicali that the supervisor mentioned. The Binational Borders Committee, sponsored by the ICTC, and those are discussions with the Mexicali officials with regard to the different changes that will be occurring if and when and in whatever manner we do have changes to our border structure. I'd like to say that we did celebrate Carmen Durazo just recently at the Cultural Arts Center. It was a beautiful event. She was there. She looked lovely. And we were all there. And thank you very much for being there. That was a very special event to name the Cultural Arts Center after Ms. Durazo. Very well deserved. I'd like to congratulate 2 new businesses in the city of Calexico, Gorilla Pizza, which I think she left now. Whatever issues that she may have, if anyone's been there, they have great pizza, and it looks like they will be successful. So good luck to Gorilla Pizza. And to Family Dollar. We're going to be having a Family Dollar down Grant Street here in Calexico. It's a great store for anyone who's having a tight budget right now, so we welcome Family Dollar to the city of Calexico. Congratulations to Juanita Salas. She was just our recent appointee to the IVC Board of Trustees. Congratulations to her. That happened last week as well. And another comment to my compañeros here on the council is that I did have a meeting with the police commissioners just recently, because I had noticed that a couple of the commissioners had come up and had some issues, but yet the commission hadn't met in probably about a year. So my suggestion to us all is that we discuss the importance of our committee and commission members to show up and to be a part of these committees, because we do have committees that are extremely important and are not meeting whatsoever. And so if you do have members that are not showing up, I'd like to see if maybe we can all decide now to if they are not participating, remove them and place someone who does want to participate, because their assistance to this council is so important. And if they don't want to participate, we might as well take some action now. So I did want to mention that I have been noticing that we do have some that are just not active whatsoever. So I thank you for that. Yes?
If I could add one more item. The retirees, last Tuesday we had a ceremony,
Yes.
I forgot.
That's right. Yes, we did celebrate our retirees. I believe it was about 23 retirees. Mr. Rodriguez?
Actually, 19.
About 19, okay. Exaggerated a little. I believe our retiree with the most years was 35 years, I believe. So it was a really nice
39.
event. 39, yes. So thank you for those that attended. That was very, very nice as well. And again, recognition to those employees that have served the city of Calexico.
She started working at 12.
When it was legal back then, right? Okay, moving on then. We're going to move on now to new business. Item number 9 is discussion and or action on approval
Madam
of... Yes, sir.
You don't want me to comment then?
City manager.
City manager.
I'm sorry?
City manager's report.
Oh, okay.
Just a couple items.
Sure. City manager's report?
Just you were talking about the Family Dollar store coming in on Grant, and it's interesting because we just had a meeting, Public Projects Review Committee, which is made up of department heads when we're looking at a project, and the item on there was Family Dollar. And they're looking at a second location in town. At this point, they're looking at the Heber and 2nd Street, where the old Womack building, for those of you who go back a little bit, they're looking at that location, and we're thrilled to hopefully get them moving on that location, because it's been vacant for so long that it would certainly be nice to have a new building in the downtown area to kind of move that and provide for some action downtown. So we're working with them at this point and assisting them in any which way we can to hopefully make that project come through to fruition. And some of our departments, the fire department had 3 of our fire captains participate in Emergency Operations Center training sponsored by EMA and Imperial County Fire Department. The training was geared towards EOC establishment and coordination, so that we'll be prepared in any kind of disasters, so that we are prepared to set up properly and make sure that everybody knows what they are doing. And it kind of goes to the the issue of we are constantly in a training mode with all of our departments so that we are aware of what we have to do, especially when any kind of a disaster, when everybody is usually panicking. Hopefully we'll be in a position to be able to handle what's in front of us and take care of our citizens. In reference to the housing division, as you passed today, we have a resolution and we're trying to seek more and more grants and go after them so that we can assist our citizens, especially those that can least afford their housing units. We also are preparing, in fact it went out, requests for proposals for a housing element that is required every 5 years, and hopefully this time we'll be on target. The last time I think it was a little behind, and that got us into trouble with applying for housing grants. These have to have certain timeframes that they have to be provided for and approved by the state. So the RFP is out on that. We were able to secure some monies through CDBG in order to be able to do that, so that money is not going to be coming out of the general fund, but rather through the grant. We are also in the process of reviewing the NOFA, Notice of Funding Availability, and application for the Cal Home program, and that grant will be due on March 20th, so we'll be sending some staff to LA on February the 13th to prepare the application for delivery on the 20th. And that, of course, is for housing rehabilitation for those who can least afford it. Under our Economic Development Division, there's been a move, as you recall, there's been a move to move our bus stop on 3rd Street, I'm trying to remember what that, right in front of the donut shop, to move it down to Heber Avenue, 3rd and Heber. In order to do that, we're making sure that we allow everybody to participate and provide their comments, and therefore the Business Improvement District has gone out and mailed a survey to everybody within the district to find out what their comments are. We have also taken it through the process, and we're going to be going to Planning Commission next and making sure that everybody has the ability to comment on this before it comes back up to the council level. The community services, we want to make everybody aware that the planning is beginning for the next art exhibit. It will be Women in the Arts, and it will be held on March 14th through the 21st. So if you know of any artists, please send them our way over at Community Services Division. And the last item, which is very important and very dear to everybody's heart, because we're going to be coming up to our 3rd anniversary of the earthquake, and we've had a little bit of trouble starting up on this, but we are moving forward on our repair of our tanks, and there's some repairs that have to go on to our 4 million gallon tank, and then if you recall, we will be constructing a new 6 million gallon tank. So we are going to be going from 1, 3, and 4 for a total of 8 million gallons to 10 million gallons. So we are looking at the future to make sure that we are prepared for that, and the project will start bidding on March the 12th, and we're hoping to be under construction by the next anniversary date so that we can get it done by the following anniversary date, because of course we never know when another quake may hit us, so we want to make sure that we're prepared. So that's all I have report at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. I'm going to ask Mr. Gonzalez, I guess he left, huh? Okay. Because Mr. Gonzalez is gone, we're not going to have any public comments then on item number 9. And so item number 9 is discussion and or action on approval of a resolution of the City of Calexico, City Council of the City of Calexico, approving the expansion of the South San Diego Recycling Market Zone to include the City of Calexico.
This item, and I don't claim to be an expert on this, so I am just going to turn it over to Mr. Bob Douthit, who is the manager for the Imperial Valley Resource Management Agency, who coordinates all of the cities in this particular type of service. We also have a representative who sits on the board of directors, who is Mr. Bill Hodge. So hopefully Bob will enlighten us as to what this does, but at least my interpretation of it only helps and benefits the City of Calexico. Bob?
Good evening, Calexico City Council and Madam Mayor. I brought a PowerPoint presentation, but if you would rather, I could just do something.
As you like. The Reader's Digest version is fine.
I'm sorry, what?
The Reader's Digest version is fine.
just go ahead and do it.
Just go prove it up.
Okay. No, the problem is I need to get the machine turned on. I'm not sure exactly how to do it and how we're going to flip it. But if you would rather me just go ahead. Okay. Okay. The RMDZ zone is that's the Recycling Market Development Zone program, and it was established by the state in 1992 to combine recycling materials with business development and expansion. There's incentives to the RMDZ zone, and they included low interest loans up to $2 million a project. And this money can be used for equipment, raw materials, inventory, and even real estate. The real estate is limited to $1 million per project. This not only is for new businesses, but also existing businesses and businesses with expansions. There's a total of 33 recycling RMDZ zones in California, and San Diego has 2 of them, one for North County and the other one for South County. And South County, San Diego wants to do an expansion, which would include Imperial Valley. And the lead agency on that would be the city of Chula Vista. And the city of Chula Vista has assured us that there would be they would absorb all the costs. There would be no cost to Imperial Valley, Imperial County at all. A couple of things about the RMDZ zone. It would not have a negative land use or any environmental impacts. Does not supersede any current land use policies or regulations. Does not relax any permitting or environmental regulations. And any businesses that operate in the RMDZ zone must still meet the same zoning standards and obtain the same environmental permits. IVEDC was instrumental in helping us get this going, and they have told me that they've got about, I don't know, they said several interested parties in an RMDZ zone here in Imperial Valley, which is good news. All of the cities in the valley have approved this resolution. Hopefully we'll get Calexico on here tonight, and then I can go ahead and submit this to the city of Chula Vista. They wanted a month to try to get their expansion packet together to meet their deadline in March for the expansion with Cal Recycle. I guess that pretty well covers it. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions?
I'd like to interject. If you read the background carefully, fellow colleagues, I think this is a real win-win situation. It's a good thing. I'd like for us to move forward on it. That's my position.
Did you have a comment?
I was just going to mention 2 changes to the resolution. One is just adding in a recital that Mr. Douth had confirmed that there was no financial commitment by the city of Calexico with respect to approving this resolution. And then on page 2, under section 1, the very last sentence mentions the County of Imperial and all of the unincorporated cities therein, but it should say incorporated cities in Imperial County. So
that was a typo. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you so much. And thank you for your patience for waiting.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Did you want to say something else, Mr. Hodge?
No, sir.
Yep. Do I have any motions?
I'll make the motion. I'll approve this item.
I'll second.
Okay. Thank you. First by Mr. Hodge, second by Mr. Moreno. Please vote. Okay, item passes 5-1. Thank you. Next item is appointment of alternate member to Southern California Association of Governments, SCAG, Regional Conference, May 2nd to the 3rd, 2013 in Palm Desert, California. And Mr. Gonzalez is still not here, so he won't have a chance to make any comments.
I'd like to volunteer if no one else.
Okay, do you have any other comments, Mr. Hodge? Mr. Hodge, you are the appointment for SCAG.
Yes, I am.
Okay, and so Mr. Moreno will then be your alternate for this event.
That is correct.
Okay, do I have a first?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I'll second that motion. Let's go ahead and vote. And this is to appoint Mr. Moreno as the alternate to attend the conference.
Can he come along with us?
I don't know. Find out. It's a miss.
And Madam Mayor, this does not exclude anybody who would like to attend. All this does is this provides for the delegate who can vote on their resolutions and so on. And then the alternate can vote if the delegate is not available, but you are all invited.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item passes 5-0. Okay, item number 11, discussion and/or action on Alliance Memorandum of Understanding with the University of Phoenix.
This item comes to you after considerable time working with the university through our fire chief, who has taken the lead on this particular item. So it gives us great pleasure to bring this to you because it starts to begin to show that we are a regional organization and that we are trying to reach out to all organizations and to build these relationships with other institutions that are not necessarily municipalities. And so we have a larger net to cast so that we make sure that we take advantage of all the resources that are out there. And that's what we hope to do in the body, in the discussions of also that if our employees decide to utilize the university, there is a 10% discount to our employees. But further than that, we hope to build a relationship where hopefully some in the future, some of our workshops that we want to take a look at, we may be able to obtain through the university, workshops such as leadership, team building, that kind of workshops for the top department heads to be able to equip them with the skills to be able to help me run this organization in a more effective and efficient way. With that, hopefully I didn't steal the chief's thunder. He will be introducing the person who will give us a presentation on what exactly it means. And like I said, I want to thank the chief for taking the lead role on this one. Chief Mercado.
Good evening. Just want to just kind of reiterate a few of the points that City Manager did bring up. Maybe about a year ago, we started looking into possible ventures to bring training into our city employees instead of the expense of having every individual go out to seek the same type of training. So it's an effort to collaborate our efforts of trying to promote our succession planning, whatever is in place right now, as we begin to filter out through the organization that we need to really invest in our employees. I believe that there is a lot of effort that needs to be made at our management level to try to regroup some of our philosophies and align them to those of the city, and no better means to do that through the educational system of the University of Phoenix or agencies similar to that, institutions out there. So we did seek out to them because they do have quite a bit of programs that are geared towards our organization. Leadership, management, business practices, team building, those type of things. And I think we could really take advantage of some of the benefits that are within their institution. So we began to discuss some possibilities of an alliance, how they could benefit our organization, how we could benefit their institution, and what type of efforts they're willing to assist us in meeting our goals, which is our educational progression. So I reached out to them, and through the work of the city manager, we were able to kind of firm up that language or legal on both ends of the University of Phoenix and the city of Calexico collaborated on this MOU language. And after a few changes here and there, they seem to be pretty comfortable with the language that's involved in the Alliance MOU. So with us, we do have Karina York from the University of Phoenix, also a resident of Calexico, so it was, the collaboration was a lot easier to kind of go back and forth and really establish what it is our focus is and what they're able to offer. So I'll bring her up and let her explain a little bit about what they're willing to offer us.
Good evening, and thank you again for the opportunity to be here today. Like City Manager and Chief Mercado said, it's been in works for a very long time, and very happy to be here and be able to share some of the benefits that we've come and will be able to offer you on our behalf. Really through discovering and strategic planning and really getting to know the city organization and the skill gaps and the areas needed, we really identified different reasonings. And being then that we really would like to focus on increasing credibility and participation in your internal training programs, focus on retaining employees who are eager to improve their skills with education, truly motivating employees to expand their knowledge and abilities, and helping employees achieve their professional development and education goals, while also helping control your company's overhead and education costs. Having that said, the biggest opportunity and the biggest benefit the University of Phoenix is offering is a tuition reduction of 10%. We don't give those just to anybody, so I had to pull a lot because I'm very proud to be a citizen of the city of Calexico and be a resident here. So really my passion really comes when it comes with education, really encouraging individuals to continue their education. And I find it so important because those who continue their education one day may be sitting up here and will make a difference in our community. So I find it to be very important. In addition to that, other benefits that we are offering is what's called articulation of credits. And what that means is for your employees who continue educational training, whether it's with us, University of Phoenix, any other institution, can translate over to college credit so they can continue their career and continue their professional growth as well. Having that said, at this time, I would encourage you to consider this opportunity and this academic partnership for many reasons, again, just to really promote education within your organization and to truly understand that we support your city and we support your employees of your city as well, and we encourage them to do better for themselves and push themselves to that next level. At this time, I would like to thank you again, Mr. Rodriguez and Chief Mercado, for reaching out to me and working collaboratively with me for a very long time. I even had the opportunity to meet Mr. Moreno one time in discussion about this partnership. If we can get approval today, I would like to send it over to my president of the university, Dr. Papacello, and get things going by tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have a question?
Yes, I'm a proponent of higher education, and I think this is a great opportunity for our employees. Just as a question, has this been done in other places?
It's been done in a lot of places, different states. University of Phoenix is nationwide. We're found pretty everywhere you go, there's going to be University of Phoenix, and we do have great partnerships throughout the country. So yes.
Okay. Mr. Councilmember, if you're looking for a first, we will be the first in Imperial County. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
There's your first.
All right.
Any other comments?
Have a lot of employees shown interest in pursuing higher education?
I find that, yes, a lot of interest in as far as in the fire departments, because I've been working with Mr. Mercado and collaborating with him and getting ideas. You know, there's always room for growth in different organizations within the city, and I find that many of our students are residents of Calexico and city employees as well.
I have some questions.
Yes.
What about the family of the employees?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What about the family
members?
Family of the employees.
We always welcome the families to attend our university. However, they wouldn't be eligible for the discount.
So, which is like, let's say, some of the employees, city employees, well, he chooses not to go to school, but his son or daughter, they like to joining. So it still can be entitled to be discount.
No, at this time, no, they wouldn't be entitled for the discount.
It's only for employees.
Can we put it together and the employees, the family's employees?
That could be a possible in the future, yes. But at this time, a part of the alliance, that's currently, it's not part of the agreement.
So only employees only, not the families?
No, only employees. However, there is additional resources that University of Phoenix can offer to employees, family members, such as, you know, scholarships, additional resources that can help them, you know, find a way to lower their tuition costs at school, for school.
Okay, so let us know, please.
Thank you very much. That's a great effort. I did have a few people even asking, when are we going to bring a University of Phoenix campus to the city of Calexico? That's our next step.
That would be the next step.
Looking forward to something like that.
Madam Mayor, I think that we just want to provide some kudos to Ms. York because she did go out of her way to get us the 10%. She had to pull some teeth there somewhere because now they're no longer doing that, my understanding. So she did go out of her way, and I think one of the reasons is, and I think this is what we like to see, is people who go off to school, they're citizens of this community, and they come back and they assist this community, and that's great to see. So I want to thank her publicly. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's nothing further, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. Please vote. Is it stuck, Mr. Kim?
I don't know, they're coming.
There you go. Thank you very much. Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations. And I hope that the employees take advantage of the opportunity. Next item is item number 12. Discussion and/or action on approval of the fiscal year 2012-2013 mid-year budget report without the need to adjust revenue projections or change previous appropriations.
Madam Mayor, we're happy to bring this item to you. As you know, after every 6 months of our fiscal year, we take a quick look at our finances and find out where we're at. One of the philosophies that we've established since our new finance director has gotten here is a philosophy that we want to make sure that we live within our means. I think that's something that's easier said than done. Certainly the state of California, as well as the federal government, has not been able to do that, and so we certainly will take the lead in doing that. And what that means is really that our revenues have to equal our expenditures. There's too many times when we think of balancing our budgets with ending balances, some surplus that you have left over from somewhere else or savings somewhere else. And we truly want to spread the philosophy that we're going to live within our revenue sources, and that hopefully as we improve our system and are able to produce those surpluses, those now monies can go to first-time, one-time shot improvements in our capital improvement program. Unfortunately, like many cities, it's been very difficult to put together a capital improvement program only because the revenues just have not been there. Since the recession started in 2007, a lot of us have really had to tighten our belts, and one of the first things that goes is your capital improvement program. So we are now looking at, and had made it a point that that's going to be one of our priorities, is try to reestablish our capital improvement program and find ways to fund it. The other challenge that we are willing to take on at this point, and we have made it a priority, is we'd like to go to a 2-year budget. Not all cities have a 2-year budget, but what that does is it also provides you with a better planning tool to plan the future of the community as you move forward. Rather than looking at just 1 year, you try to reach out and look at 2 years down the road and say, what is that going to look like, and what am I going to have to do that? And the third item that we have prioritized and kind of taken a little playbook from the school district is the encumbrance system. As much as that requires a little more work, it does provide you with a better financial picture at any one time. And in a nutshell, what that does is it takes all of your liabilities that are out there at the time that you decide to purchase something, rather than waiting until you pay for something and record it in your books and show that expenditure. We are now working on a system that will account for those and will encumber that so that we will know that there is an obligation out there. So on June 30th of next year, when we're trying to figure out are we on base or are we not, or how are we doing, we will know that there is a certain liability that's out there that we have to account for. In this particular document, and I'm not going to steal all his thunder, I'm going to bring up the finance director, but I think in the document you saw that we accounted for $800,000 worth of encumbrances that are out there. And the worst thing that can happen is you feel that you come to the end of the year and you're balanced and you're basically showing that you came out on a balanced budget, and then the next thing you know, you have $1 million out there that's outstanding that you didn't account for. So these are some of the items that we're looking to improve in our system. As one council member said to me, you don't hire a coach and expect to turn the team over in 1 or 2 years. It takes you 4 to 5 years. We're hoping to do it in a little faster time than 4 or 5 years, but certainly it's going to take a little bit of time. But as we improve our system, it will give us better financial data to be able to make our decisions. And once we have better information, we're able to make better decisions. So that's kind of where we're headed. That's kind of a synopsis of some of the things that we've prioritized and the new philosophies that we're bringing to our financial picture. And with that, I'll introduce John Quinn, who is going to give you a little more detail on our 6-month review. John?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. I would like to point out a couple things in revenue and a couple things in expenditures just to balance things out. One is that in the expenditures, or I mean the revenues, we have, we're lagging a little bit, not really lagging, but in terms of getting the data into the system and catching up with the various timing issues, we are looking pretty good. The property tax seems to have stabilized, and we don't anticipate any more reductions. And the other one, that's a big one, and the other big one is the sales tax, and we anticipate that we're going to see about a 2% growth rate through the year. And now I'm hearing even maybe more for the end of 2013. So we think we're in pretty good shape to see a little bit of additional revenue, not certainly a windfall, but a little bit. In this report, if you look on the revenue page, there's a thing called property tax VLF. What that is part of the property tax receipts that we get through a state shift called the triple flip, but it's merely a matter of moving funds around at the state level, and when they finally filter down to us, you see $2.3 million in that item. Well, just a couple of weeks ago, we did receive half of that, and that's a twice-a-year installment that we get for that. So we're on target for that. So all the big items have been accounted for. I don't want to say money in the bank, but there's certainly there isn't much doubt now that we're going to be able to meet our revenue goals. And on the expenditure side, the good news is that all of the departments seem to be pretty much controlling their expenditures and being very diligent in what they do. We're right around the 50% mark, in some cases a little bit lower. Nobody seems to be exceeding overall by department or by fund. We're not exceeding the 50% mark, so that's very good news. And as Oscar mentioned, the encumbrances, we're getting more and more of the encumbrances in, so it'll be, as we move along on that, it'll be less of a guessing game as to what's out there that we don't have recorded yet. And we expect by the end of the fiscal year we should be in very good shape on the encumbrances.
Is there any comments?
Question.
Okay, we're going to, I guess, go around. So if you like, Mr. Hodge.
Mr. Quinn, can you comment, what's your perspective on, within the departments, overtime?
Olga?
Overtime.
Overtime. Oh, I'm sorry.
Are we keeping it under control? What's your...
The overtime is under control. We have a little bit, probably in public safety, a little bit more than we would like at this time of year, but I think we're still in pretty good shape. It's certainly not going to be the magnitude that it was last year.
That's encouraging. Could you comment as to why it's still a little...
Well, I think mostly discipline and control. We have insisted that we watch our overtime, plan for it, manage it better, and of course with the fire in particular, they're fully staffed, so that helps us a lot.
Good.
Mr. Moreno, do you have any comments? Mr. Kim, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I have a question, I have some comments. First of all, questions, is that what's called the page, the revenue side, and the forfeit money, fines, forfeit, and penalties?
Sorry, what was your question, Mr. Kim?
Is that all of the forfeit money and the police department is included there?
That's how much it's mentioned.
The fines, 12, line 12. The revenue statements.
Can you repeat the question?
The 12 parking at the bottom says the total fines, forfeit money, and the penalties.
Fines and forfeitures?
Yes.
Yes.
Forfeit money, forfeit and the penalties.
11 and 12.
Still don't understand the question.
12, this
What
is
was the
the
question?
parking meter, but the bottom.
And what is the question?
Is that include the police departments, all the forfeit money is to be included?
All the what money?
The parking meter violations is
They have a title said the fines, forfeit, and the penalties.
I'm not sure I understand.
Are you asking about the seizure money? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, seizure money.
That's a
If I'm
program.
understanding the question in reference to whether all the police department revenues are there, the answer would be no, because you also find under current services charges, you also have police services, and so if other services are provided, they go under that particular item, which is item number 17. So if we contract with the schools, for example, for a
No,
function or whatever.
I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the revenue. I'm talking about asking the revenue.
He's talking about drug seizure money.
Number 12. So procedure, the seized monies.
The seized monies through drug seizures. That's the
Yes.
monies.
Where do we
number
put
12.
the seizure money, asset forfeiture monies?
The asset forfeiture money is in that's in police services, I believe.
It's a separate area.
It should be in there.
That's
in
not
the
general
budget.
fund money. Right, it's not general fund money.
Yeah, it's general fund.
Oh, it is?
And
Then where is the non-general fund, the categorical funds or whatever?
the asset forfeiture money is, let me explain that, it's actually federal money, it's a federally controlled fund, and our department budgets for that. We have this year a $350,000 budget. It isn't specifically identified on a line here by itself, and right now I wouldn't be able to tell you off the top of my head how much we have spent or how much is left in the fund.
But for me, like a kind of an incomplete budget then, because we're not showing the last revenue inside here, and how we gonna know how much money we're gonna have coming in and how much they're gonna going out. How we gonna know the budget? Because the budget supposed to show all the revenues, and they're supposed to be, even though you said that the federal belongs to federal, but it's still entitled to assigned to the Calexico. Whatever we seize the money, it's gonna be, we are entitled to spend that.
Well, for the asset forfeiture funds, we have to watch what we spend. It isn't.
Yes, I understand that, but I'd like to know how much we have. But that's what I'm questioning, how much we have. I'm not asking how much how we spending. Right now, I'm asking how much the procedure money is there.
I don't have that answer off the top of my head. I can get that for you.
I think that we don't have the information here. Then I'm gonna go to my suggestions. The suggestion, our budget is I believe. First of all, our backup document, we just had received a couple hours before the meeting. Through the, I think about 2-3 hours. And before the meeting?
We had it on Monday. We had it Monday, yesterday.
It was in our box, Mr.
And emailed to you, too.
Yes, it was emailed yesterday.
Email I received like today.
Emailed and put in the
Yeah,
boxes
it went
yesterday,
today.
I believe, correct?
Yeah, but
Gabby?
then that means I have to come in on every daily basis? Why don't we have those backup documents when we have a agenda delivered?
I don't believe it was
I like
prepared
to, I
and
like to
ready.
have that.
I think that the bottom line answer, it was misplaced. It wasn't put in the agenda. I think that's what we have to tell you.
It was ready last week,
They had that last week, but it didn't come into the agenda.
but I can't tell you why it wasn't included in the agenda, I just don't know.
Okay, and anyways, I received it by email by this afternoon. Okay, the other one is we should have a summary. This one is kind of a summary, but we should have a summary and details. Summary pages and the front and the details in back. So when we have issues, we can go look into it. This one is all put together. We cannot see how much money actually we spending in certain areas or how much receiving in certain areas. So we should have all the information is here. And the other one is we have a format almost like a perfect, but like I said, we had to formally approve the budget. It's not showing there. So how much we approved it, how much we spending is not showing up. You should be able to see when we have a budget report in front of us. And also, there's no beginning balance included. The last year balance we left over and it's not in here.
Councilman Kim, the budget that was adopted originally is included on this document. It is in the same form it was when it was adopted September 27th.
September 27, adopted. I believe it adopted more earlier, no? They have an adjustment once. We have originally adopted budget and then later we were adjusted.
It's only been adjusted, I think we mentioned before that it's only been adjusted by a previous approval that the council made when the electorate chose to give up the elected city clerk and city treasurer positions and make them appointed positions. There was a whole process for the, I believe we went to an ordinance for that, or change in the ordinance. And that was all done prior, and
Yes,
that adjustment is, I'm sorry, that adjustment is already reflected in the document.
So I like to see the original budget and together we can compare for that. And also I like to see in the form projection how much we're gonna be spending or how much we're gonna receive the money end of the year. So we don't have any projection. We only have till December 31st. All the report, but I like to see the projection on the end of the years.
I think that, let me see if I can help out here. I think if you look at your report and you look at your revenue reports and your expenditure reports, if you look at your first column, it says adopted budget.
Yes.
That is our projection. Whatever we adopt as a budget, that's our projection. When we come to you at a 6-month review, that's when we tell you whether or not we need to adjust that budget. At this point in time, we're providing a report that says our 6-month review of this budget is on target. So there is no need to make any adjustments to this budget. We believe that we will be on target with our projections.
Yeah, but the projection is adopted budget is adopted budget. But projection is going to be we're going to be able to meet that match of the money, or we're going to spend less money, or we're going to spend more money. We can project it until we see how much we're spending, what is going to be coming.
Well,
so we need to have a kind of broadcasting the view for the city.
Yeah,
I believe you gave me the broadcasting, but this one has to be included in the budget.
Well, and again, and I don't want to belabor the point, but the adopted budget is our projection. Unless we believe that we're not going to make those budget numbers, then we will come to you at the 6-month, like we're doing this review, and tell you we don't believe that we're going to make these numbers. Therefore, we're asking you to approve our adjustments to the 6-month projection. So at this point, we are telling you that we believe that our budget is on target, our revenues will be on target, and if anything, I really do believe believe our expenditures may be lower than what we projected. I think the department heads are doing a good job. So again, how we word this, if we want to word it a little different, if we want to massage it, we can certainly do that. We're open to that. We don't have a magical 6-month review document that we provide to you where we fill in the blanks. But again, I think the good news that we want you to take from this is that our 6-month review shows that we're on target, that our revenues will match our expenditures and we will not be over. In reference to the issue of beginning balances and ending balances, those items would not be in your 6-month projection because, again, the idea is that you're measuring your revenues versus your expenditures for the year, and you want to live within those boundaries. Now, when we give you our monthly reports, in those monthly reports, you will see beginning balances for the for that month. But this is not a monthly report. This is an analysis of our first 6 months.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We need to have a beginning of the year balance to include our budget. So we don't like to see the money out of our eyes, and we operate with this budget.
Well,
It should include the beginning balance.
Councilman Kim, we carry a year-to-date, and the year-to-date from one month to the next is carried forward and only increased by that current month on the monthly financials. On this particular report, we're only trying to emphasize the 6-month position. We aren't trying to bring things forward, and I think as the city manager mentioned, we're matching our current revenues and our current expenditures and not trying to include any previously recognized surpluses or previous balances. We're making the revenues and expenditures for the year live on their own.
Thank you. So we're not gonna see the beginning balance then.
Well, if you need to see the beginning balance, sir, we would be more than happy to provide it.
Yeah, the public has to know. That's my questions. Public has to know how much money we're spending, how we're spending.
Let me jump in again, if I may. Let me jump in.
Yes, Mr. Rodriguez, please help us.
And clarify. Again, the purpose of this report is to simply show whether we're on target or not on target. You will have before you, hopefully, if not next meeting, the first meeting in March, you will have our audited financial statements as of June 30th of last year. Those financial statements are audited statements. If you will recall, I believe back when we had our June 30th unaudited statements, if I recall correctly, I think we told you that our cash balances were coming in at about $800,000. And we felt really good about that. But we also cautioned that those weren't audited financials and that there was still going to be some adjustments when we got into the audit, because auditors take a look at it and sometimes they disagree with how we classify certain revenues or expenditures. We will be bringing that to you, hopefully at the next meeting, if not the first meeting in March. Those will be your audited financial statements. And those will be certified by a certified public accountant. And I believe, I hope I'm not mistaken here, John, but it will be an unqualified opinion. And an unqualified opinion means that we don't have any major issues, that there is not any major problems with our financials, how we've recorded it. I believe that financial, we're looking at the draft right now. I believe that we're going to be very close to what we estimated June 30th. We may be a little lower than that. Those will have all of your ending balances. But that's what that statement is for when we give you the audited financial. We will also come back to you with another statement, probably a couple of meetings after that, which will be your single audited requirements, for single audit purposes for OMB requirements, Office of Management and Budget. That also serves another purpose, and that document will serve the purpose of reviewing all of our grants and taking the largest grant and then doing an evaluation and an audit of that particular grant, which is required by OMB. If you will recall, last year we had a problem because we didn't submit that on time. We plan on coming into you the first meeting at the latest in March and presenting that, I could be misspoken, it could be the second meeting in March, but it will certainly be before March 30th with that particular single audit requirement. So there's a lot of different statements that we provide you during the year, and they all have different requirements and different focuses.
Madam Mayor, I motion that we approve this mid-year budget report. You can second for discussion.
Okay, second for discussion. Okay. I respect Councilman Kim's concerns. I'm not quite clear about what he's pushing for, but remember, Mr. Quinn came in your office. I think what would be, although he's very knowledgeable of the timeline, what I had asked you, maybe it would be a good idea, just what City Manager Oscar has articulated, all these different reports, when they're due and how far ahead are they going to come to us. But also, it's to be noted that we do get monthly statements, and so that keeps us on top. But I think that would, certainly for me, would be appreciative to have a timeline of all the different audits, single audits, all the different benchmarks when we come along with the financials. And so with that,
Thank you, Mr. Hodge.
so now do I, what's the proper procedure?
Would you like to provide a second on his motion?
I will now second the motion.
Thank you. I have a first and a second.
Mayor.
Yes.
Yes. Also, I would like to mention what Mr. King said. We should have this information with the agenda or before, at least 5 or 6 days before the public council meeting. Why? Because this is something related to numbers. In order to make the right decision, we need to have this not the same time or one day before the public council meeting. So I would like to suggest to send this information sooner, at least a week before the public council meeting.
And that's
that's
well noted, and we apologize for that. When the agenda went out, it wasn't in there. We didn't notice it until after it had gone out. That's why you got it on Monday. So we will take the blame for that. We apologize. It won't happen again.
I still want
Thank you, Mr.
some more
Rodriguez.
details in the
I do have a first and a second. Thank you, Mr. Moreno, and thank you, Mr. Hodge. Let's vote. And this is for the approval of the mid-year budget report. Thank you. Item passes 4-1. Next item is item number 13, appointments by Councilman Kim to the following commissions. Mr. Kim, your first appointment is to the Planning Commission. Do you have an appointment already?
Yes. Before I'm appointing someone, I believe we were mentioning about the commissioners, their absence. We should have, last time I already mentioned it, we should have a monthly meeting for every commissioners. And if they don't have agenda, they put a workshop so they can discuss some of the issues. At least they can continue routinely they have a meeting that we should have it. And also the commissioners, they are not
Madam Mayor, this is about him appointing a commissioner. If there needs to be more meetings for items on the agenda, I think that'd be well-deserved to have more meetings, but to pay staff to come in when there's nothing on the agenda, I think is a waste of time.
Well,
Mr. Kim, I believe that what we commented earlier.
I told you last time, you said, you named the commissioner first. That's why I'm naming commissioner.
Right. Mr. Kim,
Yes.
the only thing that maybe we need to do, like we talked about earlier, is that we all talk to our commissioner appointees, and that they, suggest that to them, but it will be about them if they are also able to do that. So,
If I may interject, I've been pushing, we need to take responsibility to check over our commissioners, but also at the same time, and the city was doing a good job, but we sort of dropped it. I pushed for attendance, reports on attendance, and I also pushed for, on a periodic basis, for commission reports, and that will keep us abreast and
that's a good idea.
as to
I think that's probably what we could do. Okay. Okay, Mr. Kim, so if you like.
And then also they're supposed to be notified by the email at least, and call them. And somebody don't get the call.
We'll look into all of that, Mr. Kim. So would you like to go ahead and name your first appointment for the Planning Commission, Mr. Kim, please?
Planning commissioners, the Gregory Gelmans, the Mr. Gelmans.
What was the name again?
The planning commissioners.
Gregory.
Last name, sir?
Gregory Gelmans.
Gianza Pharmacy.
Okay, thank you. Item B is Business Improvement District.
Business Improvement District, I think Mr. Polo Lu.
Okay, and Financial Advisory Board.
Financial Advisory Board, Gregory Gelmans again.
time on your hands.
Okay, and I believe that's all. Thank you very much for attending. This meeting is adjourned.